TV6 Sports, live at Palomino Restaurant downtown. This is Horseplay.
And here we are live from the Palomino as we are making TV on the internet and on your phone. Once again, our mobilecast is on the air, and here we are. Week number 4 in the books for the Colts, and it is a win over the Tennessee Titans. Brad Brown, Jim Sorgi, Mike Chappell here with us here, Colts radio analyst, IndyChannel.com, as we recap Week 4, look ahead to Week 5. We got some guests coming here. Dave First will join us along in just a minute. We'll hear from Baltimore coming up in the back half of the show as well. And right before we went on, you both made the comment there. It's easy to talk about a win like that.
It is.
And you take a look at that yesterday. Pretty impressive performance on both sides of the ball for these guys.
Well, it's easy. Let me correct what I'm saying. It's not easy to talk about a win, but it's easy to talk about a win when you really play well.
There you go.
And you play all well in all facets of the game. You're talking special teams, you're talking defense, you're talking offense, throwing the ball, running the ball. Not running the ball so-so, but still got over 100 yards rushing, and nothing from the quarterback. That's just on the ground. Those are just, players in the backfield running the football. And not turning the ball over, getting turnovers, sacking their quarterback, not giving up any sacks. I mean, you can go on and on and on and talk about how big of a win that was.
Yeah, Chap, you look at the box score from this game, there's a lot to like about that from these guys, and the numbers add up kind of about how we expected in this one.
And what's important, I've seen people say, well, these last 2 weeks come against Jacksonville and Tennessee. Well, you play who you play.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think what's important is not that you beat these two, but how you beat them. It wasn't one where it took a last-second whatever, sack or touchdown. So you've gone about taking care of business, and, determined the game early on, and kept a hammerlock. So, these are not two of the better teams that they're going to face all year, but they took care of it. And that's what good teams do. You beat the teams that you need to beat decisively, and then you move on.
Another one about defending the home field. We heard a lot about that coming into this one and winning these games at home. Division game. There's a lot of important factors that come into like this to kind of get some momentum early on in the season here. We talked about Tampa Bay beating Pittsburgh yesterday when, bad teams essentially
Tampa
taking
was
on good
down
teams.
56-0 the week before. And this is in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's just teams. You look at Atlanta, you think they got things together, and they go and get beat at Minnesota. So again, you take care of your business, but you win at home. Win your games. Go 6-2 at worst, 7-1 at home. Get 500 on the road, and then you're in the playoffs. You're probably a 3 seed.
Sure.
So they're taking care of business. That's what I like, is how they're going about things. This team doesn't get too high, too low. I think that stems from the quarterback and the head coach.
Yeah.
They just go about their business.
Yeah, it adds up well, and when you take a look, Jim, at the division here, getting these first couple of division games, you still got to go on the road. You're going to Houston here coming up next week.
That's the big win.
You still got to go do this against these guys, and to take care of these early games really sets things up well.
It really does. Next week will be a good test.
Yeah.
The Baltimore sitting at 3-1. They lose their opener to Cincinnati at home, but it was a good game, 23-16, I think it was.
Touchdown game.
Yeah.
Touchdown game. Then they come back, they win 3 straight, and that's Pittsburgh. They beat
Cleveland.
Pittsburgh, Cleveland. Then yesterday they pretty demoralized Carolina Panthers,
really
who
did.
everybody thinks is one of the top 5 defenses in the league. And then if you handle your business next week at home again against Baltimore, then I think the real test comes in. Houston on the road on a Thursday night, a short week. If you can go in there and get a win, then a snowball effect.
Yeah.
Then things just start going right.
Yeah, there it goes, momentum. Houston with a win yesterday as well, as they went to 3-1 on the season. Let's get to the lead here as we start things off here, recapping week number 4. The Colts win over Tennessee, final of 41-17, as the Colts put the first 17 points on the board in this one. Great first quarter. We'll talk in a second here about the really aggressive nature what the Colts came out with in that opening quarter with after the turnover, a couple of big plays, the onside kick and all that. But look at the numbers there. Luck, 393, 4 scores. 5 different guys scored. Of course, the big game that Reggie had, 7 catches for 119 and a touchdown, 498 total yards. The last 2 weeks combined, the Colts have had 1,027 total yards. That's a franchise record for any 2-game span. I think you got to go back to Unitas the last time they broke 1,000 in a 2-game span like that.
And also, we were looking, when's the last time they had back-to-back 500-yard games?
Right.
Well, they would have, except for the 2 kneel downs. So we're going to blame this one on Hasselbeck.
There you go.
The two minus 1 knees. But again, it's just, and again, it's nothing flashy. I don't think. Not the big 80-yard plays. It's just 20 yards here, 18 here to get a couple of good runs. I like the way they're just dispersing everything out to keeping everybody involved.
Jim, one thing that stood out for me was on that opening quarter, they got the fumble recovery. They came out, long pass and a running touchdown. I think you mentioned it on the radio. Good to see them run one in from a yard out like that.
It really was.
Really set the tone early.
Well, I mean, we talked about how many touchdown passes Andrew Luck has inside the 10-yard line, inside the 5-yard line. It's because we haven't been able to punch it in. Those touchdown passes that come on 3rd down when we're trying to punch it in on first and second down. So it was finally nice to see us just line up, say, here we come, here it is, and just kind of knock it in the end zone. And it could be a little bit of that, maybe they were expecting play action pass because that's kind of what we've been showing lately.
Sure.
But we give it to Trent. He just barrels into the end zone. T.Y. gets him a foot away. You should be able to just go ahead and knock that one in.
Yeah, that's good to see. Okay, we're going high tech on this thing today. We got the RTV6 Skype fired up. In theory, we've got Dave First coming to us from somewhere. Look in the suburbs. Look, it's Dave on the deck. Look at this. Say hi, Dave. SPF 30.
Hi, guys.
Look at this.
You know it's official Skype when there's the little Skype logo up in the upper right.
Point the other way. You got to point backwards. It's in the other corner.
Oh, this way?
There you go. There it is.
go.
Nice. Very nice.
There it is. See it?
Ambidextrous.
Well done. Hey, we're talking about this thing. You had a chance to kind of get some eyeballs on this thing. Now, what do you think of that 41 points yesterday?
Well, my question is, who's more dominant lately? The European golf team in the Ryder Cup or the Colts in the AFC South?
Yes. Yes is the answer.
You with me on
to
this?
that. Yeah, for sure.
Andrew Luck is the Rory McIlroy of the AFC South at this point.
Yeah.
You remember, Jim and Chap, you guys remember when the AFC South was the toughest division in the NFL, and now look what it's become.
Well, when it started up, it was Tennessee. Jacksonville had Brunel, and they were great guns. So it's really flips. That's why you take advantage of when this cycle is in this form.
Yeah.
You've gone through the Manning years where you dominated. Now you've got Luck, and the other teams are down. And I tell you, we come back to the same common denominator: wire teams up or wire teams down. The Colts have dominated because they've had the quarterback in place, except for the 1 year. And now you look at the other teams. Tennessee, who's their quarterback? Who's their quarterback of the future?
They don't have it.
Charlie Whitehurst?
Not Charlie Whitehurst. We can
So he's
guarantee
not there.
that. Yeah.
And again, Tennessee or Jacksonville, you think it's going to be Bortles.
Yeah.
But with Houston, Fitzpatrick, really? I mean, when's Ryan Mallett going to get the chance? So as long as you're unsettled at quarterback, you have issues.
Yeah. Davey, your observation, kind of, I'm not exactly sure where you were yesterday. I think you were football-centric. I'm not going to quiz you completely on that. But when you heard that they went for the onside kick after that first touchdown, that's kind of where we were getting to in the conversation here. Pretty aggressive start.
I thought it was a brilliant call. And I think I like the fact that the Colts are being more aggressive in these types of situations. I remember, you go back to yesterday, and if you flipped around, everybody was watching football. The Bears attempted the same sort of thing against Green Bay. That was the exact opposite of what they should have done because it's a 50-50 gamble. You got to know defensively what you can do against the Titans, or if you're the Bears, what you can do against Green Bay. And the Bears didn't have anything against the Packers at all. And all of a sudden, the onside kick fails, and you're giving up a short field to the likes of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
To the likes of the entire Tennessee Titan offense. And it's a great gamble if you're Chuck Pagano, and it's one that obviously paid dividends yesterday.
Jim, when you see how well they executed that onside kick, too, as high as McAfee put that, you saw the block that Doyle put on the sideline there to free up Griff Whalen. It all really fell together well.
It did. McAfee's really good at kicking that ball.
Yeah.
He kicks a high ball, hits the ground, and just shoots up in the air. Doyle does a great job. His sole purpose is to go down there and knock that guy out of the play so he can't feel the ball. And then Griff, Johnny on the spot, I mean, his hands are so good. That's why he's our punt returner.
So the ball's going to be high enough to give Doyle a chance to get down there
and do it. Yes.
Yeah.
And then obviously you throw in the wow factor, the spontaneity of it, the surprise of it, and you got a pretty nice little play. But I think what the Colts were going to do from the get-go of that game, they were going to jump on that team and get the lead any way they could.
Yeah.
Because really the only way Tennessee could stay in that game was to run the football, to control the clock, keep our offense on the sidelines. Right. Once you got the lead and put the game kind of in the quarterback's hands, Charlie Whitehurst's hands to throw the ball, it wasn't going to turn out well for the Tennessee Titans, and that's exactly what happened.
Dave, you've seen a lot of football over the years. Can you remember a two-game stretch like this? Back-to-back 500-yard games, back-to-back 40-pointers. Maybe not as much as Chappell, but you've seen some football.
You make me sound like I'm ancient or something.
Well, you're sitting on your deck doing the show right now. It's high-tech. Go with it.
He's got a swimming suit on it below.
You are not wearing pants right now. Deal with it.
I rarely wear pants anyway. But I'm out of town for the weekend. I get in this morning. I said, let's try Skype here on Horseplay, and I'm glad this is going to work out pretty well because I know Brad, you're going to try it. We're going to get Michael Grady to try it as well. I mean, Heck, really, there's no reason for me to ever go back in the studio. We can do it this way.
This is fine. I only live 2 blocks away, but I'm Skyping in next Monday.
There you go.
I got
to show up because I don't know how to Skype.
It'll be you and me. We'll be sitting
That's
here together.
it. We're just going to leave Chap and Sorgi here, get him an appetizer, and we'll phone it in from there.
Yeah. Sorgi doesn't even have Twitter, so I don't know how the man's going to Skype. But anyway.
I don't know how.
Guilty
as charged.
He's been doing a lot of research on his phone while we're sitting here, though. So he's sort of dialed into the world.
I'm really like a 60-year-old man in a 32-year-old body, and that's just pretty much what it is.
Hey, we got to get around to talking about Reggie and the day he had yesterday. It's kind of Reggie being back to being Reggie is really what it felt like in this. And to see the plays he was able to make, the one drive there in the third quarter where it was 21-17 and the touchdown pass was luck and Reggie to set that up. Felt like old times again.
It really does. He looks like he's 25 years old. His body control, the way he positions his body, the way he looks so seamless out there running routes, the knowledge he has after playing so many years, he sets up the defensive back. I mean, the touchdown pass, the back shoulder throw, he waited to the very last second that he knew he could. He turns his body, alters it, he catches the ball, sticks it inside the pylon. If he turns any sooner, the DB realizes what's going on and possibly can make a play on that ball. But he's always had the strongest hands I've ever seen as a receiver. You can put it in a vicinity around him, and he's going to come down with the ball. And it's just nice to see him kind of get back in that form and just do it rather easily. I mean, just looks like he's having fun out there, like he's not even playing with grown men. He's just out there playing, with kids.
Chap, you kind of made the comment last night. He's making plays. He's out there making Reggie plays.
I think we're at the point, we're a month in, I think we're at the point that no longer do we say, Reggie, how's your knee feel?
Yeah.
I think we're past it, which is a great thing. And it's funny, I was talking to Pep Hamilton in the hallway last night. I said, I wonder when Reggie plays and catches the ball, does the ball make a sound?
It doesn't.
Because the way he catches the ball with the fingertips and the hands, it's just he just snatches like that Spider-Man with the web stuff on his fingers.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how he'll just reach out and grab it. But probably the best hands of any player, including Marvin Harrison.
I would agree.
As far as just the ball never gets to the body.
Yeah.
He makes the tough catches, but he makes the tough catches and the easy catches. But we were talking with Andrew Luck, and he said, sometimes we do take him for granted in the locker room because he's always there. He's always doing this. So it was just another day at the office, which I think is the best sign that this guy's all the way back, is that he's back to where he was.
Yeah, let's do some inside the numbers real quick here. Let's show some of the stats that we had from the game yesterday. Seth, we'll roll those in here, and we'll let Dave chime in as well. Luck, 29 completions, 9 different receivers. Chap pointed that out last night. Second straight game he's hit 9 different guys. There's Reggie, 7 for 119. 42 minutes time of possession really was, I mean, that kind of set the pace for this one. And Dave, you made the comment last week about Pat McAfee and how effective he's been on kicking and his punting as well, and that came into play again yesterday very well.
Yeah, I mean, at what point, do we forget the fact that we probably got, when I say we, the Colts, they've got one of the best punters in the NFL.
Yeah.
And here's a guy that really, they were probably considering, I don't know how much they were really considering letting him go, but the Colts obviously thought about, well, what do we do here? Do we, do we go elsewhere? Do we, and the great thing about Pat is not only is he really good on the field, but he's also really good off the field.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, and Chap would be a better person to ask this. I don't remember the media going to a punter for interviews as much as we do. I mean, Ron Stark, I don't know if you go back to Dean Biasucci when he was kicking. I don't,
Hunter Smith.
But Pat's a quote machine,
Yeah.
The last special teams guy we went to this much, unfortunately, was Mike Vanderjagt.
Vanderjagt, yeah. And not necessarily for the same good reasons, right? Yeah.
You got to look at Pat. He's one of the best punters in the league, like Dave said. But he's going to be honest with you. He's going to give you the quote. He's going to tell you exactly how it is. He's not going to sugarcoat things. And when things are going good, he's going to tell you they're going good. When they're going bad, he's going to tell you they're going bad. But he's so versatile as that he can kick off, but when he's punting, he can punt for distance, and then he can punt for accuracy. I mean, yesterday he did such a good job controlling Destin McCluster. He's not worried about his numbers. He's going to take less of an average just to punt it high so our coverage teams can get down there and just kind of dominate him, just stop him before he can get going. And it was just awesome.
Yeah, back to back. He had a 60-yard punt on the one, and as I recall, his next punt was a short field, but they put him at the 9-yard line on that.
It was a 37-yard kick.
That was it. It was only a 30-yard kick, but no return at the 9. That's an asset that is going to set your defense up for success.
And one thing with Pat that's easy to overlook, I think he's helping the fans at home because now on kickoffs, you've got an extra 2 minutes that you can go to the fridge or go, because there's going to be a touchback.
Yeah.
And we laugh at touchbacks, but that's first and 10 at the 20-yard line every time. The longer the field, the tougher it is to score. So he's just been a great weapon as far as what was eight touchbacks last week, 7 this week, or 6 or 7 this week.
Right.
So it's just huge to know that the other team started at the 20-yard line at best.
Yeah. First, you still there with us? Did Dave check out?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're still there. Yeah, we're winding down with you. We got the guys from Baltimore going to call in for us to talk about next week. So I see your
Nice.
tree looks healthy in the backyard there, and the deck seems well polished. So
Go do some fishing, man. I see the pond
Look at
back.
that.
I trimmed the tree this morning after I got back.
Yeah, that's nice.
I've been busy here at the First household.
I can tell. You going to fire up the grill for lunch today?
Yeah, sure. By the way, tell Sarah at the bar there at Palomino that I won't be ordering the chicken salad today.
Actually, I'm going
let her
to
know.
box that up and take it on your behalf.
That's fine.
It'll be
Sure.
on your tab when you get back here
too,
next
yeah.
week. Yeah, thank you. So you get to buy lunch anyway.
Oh, nice. You know what? I mean, I think the Colts did exactly, and we talked a little bit about this last week, the Colts did exactly what they needed to do against teams like Jacksonville and Tennessee. And, Andrew's obviously having a fantastic start to the season, 13 touchdowns. It's very impressive. Yes, he's gotten fat on these other teams in the AFC South, but you have to. It was a very business-like approach last week against Jacksonville, a very business-like approach this week against Tennessee. I think it's going to be very interesting, fellas, over the next 3 weeks to see what happens against teams like the Ravens. We got Houston on that Thursday night game, and then you have the Cincinnati Bengals after that. That's going to be a very telling tale, what happens over those next 3 games, to see how good this team is, if they, can contend for the AFC South Championship and perhaps even beyond that.
And I completely agree with you, Dave, but you look back at that Tennessee defense from yesterday, this was a defense only giving up 170 yards through the air on average. And we almost throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean,
Sure.
They're giving up around 304 yards of total offense. We have almost 500 yards of total offense. So this was a defense that obviously their offense left them on the field for 42 minutes. You're going to give up some yardage and some points. But I mean, this was a defense that was getting it done. They got it done the week before against Cincinnati. They just got put in a hole by their offense and just gave up too many points. But for our offense side of things, we got it done against a pretty good defense yesterday.
Yeah, let's run the Monday afternoon quarterback thing we got lined up back there. Luck's last 2 games, it might be against Jacksonville and Tennessee, but Dave makes a good point, and Jim does as well. The numbers that add up out of this thing, look at these last 2 games out of this. 75% passing, 60 out of 80, 763, 8 TDs, just the 1 pick, and Chad made the point yesterday. The pick was a horrible play, and Andrew admitted to that in that one there. 12 yards per completion in those 13 touchdown passes in the first 4 games are a Colts record. Guys, any of you chime in on this. The numbers simply add up that the kid's impressive, and we know he's getting better.
We always kind of get on each other in training camp. We chart Luck's passing in practice. 7 on 7, 11 on 11. These are the numbers you get in practice.
Yeah. It's 7 on 7.
7 on 7. but 75%, 80% is ridiculous.
Phenomenal.
And these are not dink and dunks. These are going down the field. Yeah. There was some run after the catch, but that's what's impressive. They're being aggressive. And again, the most touchdowns in the first 4 games of the season in Colts history.
Yeah.
And he's beat it by 2. It was 11, and
right.
Peyton did it twice in 2004, 2010. The 2004, he threw 49 touchdown passes to break the touchdown record.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously the boy's playing well.
Yeah, pace for 52 touchdowns after 4 games is not too bad. Davey, we're final thoughts out there in the burbs, Davey, before we cut you loose?
No, I just realized that I must have covered a lot of football in my 18 years at Channel 6, thanks to Brad's comments. But, of course, it's nothing compared to the dean there in Mike Chappell. I can't believe that Reggie Wayne is approaching, he's at 200 now. He's going to be he's going to break the record for most games played in Colts franchise history. That is amazing. We're going to cover that in the weeks and days to come. Yeah. But I'm going to grill some burgers. So if you guys want to come over, come on over.
Good. Throw 3 more on there.
Throw your address out there. We'll all be there.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Tell everybody where to go. We'll send the whole webcast audience out there. Everybody head to Carmel.
Skyping.
Just
Skyping.
Smell for the grill. That'll be fine. All right. Well done.
Thanks, boys.
Enjoy the afternoon, Davey.
See ya.
We'll cut him loose. Dave first on Skype with us out there in Hamilton County. We'll leave him to be parts unknown as we go through the thing here. And what's next? Well, it is indeed the Ravens. We've kind of touched on it. We'll get on to week number 5 now as we can start our preview for the next one, as it will be Baltimore coming off a big win over Carolina, 38-10. Joe Flacco, Steve Smith hooked up a couple times. Really, they just made Carolina look bad yesterday. Baltimore, pretty impressive right now. Ran the ball, 129 yards on 30 carries. Jim, where do you put Baltimore, I guess, kind of in the AFC at this point? And Chappell asked you kind of the same thing. Where you kind of put the Ravens among the teams at the top of the conference area?
Well, you know, like I said, they beat some pretty good AFC teams. I mean, they beat Pittsburgh. It was at home. You know, they lose to Cincinnati by a touchdown. That was at home as well. I don't know exactly I don't know what you're going to get from Baltimore from week to week, to be honest with you. You know,
I've never been totally invested in Flacco. For some reason, yeah. I just haven't been. But if the defense plays well and Justin Forsett, you know, I'm not saying to make him forget Ray Rice, but when you get this kind of production out of their running game, it's a great defense with a lot of playmakers, yep. with Suggs and Dumerville.
Well, you said it too. I mean, sometimes you get a team when some kind of adversity happens, they rally around each other and have a really good year. Yep. And I don't think this Baltimore team was going to be that great at the beginning of the season, but obviously they're rallying around each other ever since the Ray Rice incident. Steve Smith, a great free agent pickup. Yeah. Torrey Smith playing well. Owen Daniels playing well at the tight end. Flacco's got some weapons, and that defense is doing a nice job.
There's a lot to like for Baltimore right now. We're going to hook up another Skype here with us. Charlie Krausen from our Scripps affiliate, WMAR in Baltimore, joining us now there. And Charlie, you got the Panthers fired up. The Orioles are division champs and getting ready for the playoffs. There is a lot to like on the harbor there right now. How are things going after that big win yesterday over the Panthers?
There's a lot to be happy about if you're a sports fan in Baltimore right now, Brad. Hope you guys are having a good afternoon. I mean, Orioles are getting ready for postseason baseball, but all anyone's talking about right now, especially after yesterday's win over the Carolina Panthers, is just how dominant the Ravens were imposing their will against the Carolina team. But after the first two games of the season, you thought it was going to be formidable there in the NFC, but here lately, I mean, Cam Newton's clearly hurt. We knew that was the situation coming into the game. And yesterday, it appears Baltimore just imposed their will on every side of the ball at every turn.
Jim made the comment right as we brought you in here about getting past the distractions this team has had leading up to the first part of the season here. Is that kind of the sense that you get that this team has kind of rallied around itself given the situation there?
It's interesting that you would say that because after the Steelers game, there was sort of this us-against-the-world approach the Ravens had taken on. I mean, you remember NFL Network was here outside M&T Bank Stadium. There was all this curiosity, more than anything, morbid curiosity at the time, to see how Baltimore would respond to something like that. And now there's been distance placed a bit from what happened initially with the second Ray Rice video courtesy of TMZ Sports, now the league investigation. I think what we're starting to see with this Ravens team is what they had in mind under Gary Kubiak. You're starting to see more of an offensively minded approach. The Ravens, for much of their existence, has based their team and their franchise on a strong defense. And while the defense certainly did its job, the offense really set the tone yesterday throughout the course of the game. And they're distancing themselves from that adversity you guys were just talking about. And I think we're now beginning to see who this Ravens team may be.
First of all, I want to apologize for what my Detroit Tigers are about to do to the Baltimore Orioles in the coming week.
I'm with Sorgi as a Tigers fan on this.
Detroit, so I want to first apologize for
Tigers.
That. Now, you look at the next couple games.
Did I just see Go Tigers?
That was me, yes, Charlie. Go Tigers. You're going to have to deal with that all week. We'll talk soon.
I think the draw the Orioles just took on the ALDS might be the worst of the teams available because on the season, Baltimore's 1-5 against the Tigers.
It's a good matchup. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Okay, back to football, Jim.
Yes, back to football. You look at the Ravens the next few games. They come to Indianapolis, and then they go to Tampa Bay, home against Atlanta, and then at Cincinnati. Do you see, this game against the Colts is going to be a tough contest. I mean, the Colts are playing well, Baltimore's playing well. You should win the next two games, I think, in Tampa Bay and Atlanta, and then you go to at Cincinnati. So you look at that, how do you see them carrying on throughout the rest of the season? Are they going to win this AFC North? Are they going to be, in the playoffs? Are they a playoff type team in your mind?
They are a playoff team if you base it on what's happened these past three games.
Yeah.
You look at what happened with Pittsburgh, always going to be an emotional game. That's going to be really, it's hard to gauge a Ravens or Steelers team based on how they may play each other. But when you saw what they did against Cleveland on the road, able to win and win ugly in Cleveland, going now to what happened with Carolina, the next three games, as you mentioned, being Indianapolis and then Tampa, and then Atlanta. Yeah, 2 of those 3, I think you're probably going to see more of the gelling of it, getting ready to go back to Cincinnati. Are they a playoff team? Based on what we've seen so far, yes. Are they the class of the league right now? I hope no one from Baltimore is watching or listening. Cincinnati's very good.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, let's just be objective here, guys. Cincinnati is very good, but we shouldn't be surprised by what's happening there in Cincinnati. They've only been building for this for 3 years.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. Charlie Krause in WMAR Baltimore joining us here via Skype on our Horseplay Mobilecast here on RTV6 and the IndyChannel.com. Charlie, Mike Chappell made the comment kind of right before we brought you in here, not completely sold on Joe Flacco. Is Baltimore sold on Flacco? Is he the guy there? Does he feel like a franchise quarterback in that city now?
He is the guy. He is the man. The city of Baltimore is and I'm sorry to disappoint. Yeah, they're sold on Joe. Do they get frustrated with him? I was at the game yesterday and had the chance to be a fan for a little while instead of being a journalist there. And do they get frustrated with him? Absolutely. Does he make decisions sometimes they wish he might second guess to a second, third, or maybe fourth safety receiver? We're going to have a moment here, guys. Where I told you it was coming.
Hey, we got the kid. Well, yeah.
Hey.
Who is this?
Say hello. Hello. This is my daughter, Olivia.
Hi.
She's supposed to be napping right now, but she didn't want to take a nap.
Olivia wants to be on in Indianapolis. That's fantastic.
You're a rock star now. You're going national, baby.
All right.
But to answer your question about Flacco, he is the guy. I mean, you want down? Okay.
All right.
Say bye-bye.
Bye, Olivia. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, baby.
That's fun.
Yeah, he's the guy. I mean, he's their quarterback. And there's the gelling now, what you're seeing with him and Kubiak. They're on the same page, getting there. You know, you lose Dennis Pitta last week. He's done. You know, now they won't going with Owen Daniels. They're finding the pieces to get in and allowing Joe to just sort of become the quarterback he's going to be. Is he a, sorry, baby, is he a 1 to 5? Probably not right now. I mean, he's a 6 to 10 for sure.
On his way. Okay.
Can Justin Forsett long term do what Ray Rice did? You know, although tailing off last year, can Justin Forsett be that guy?
He is amazing. It's really interesting if you see Forsett run live, because hold on, if you see Forsett run live, he kind of mirrors a Ray Rice in a lot of ways. They're built similarly, and then you have Taliaferro. You have Taliaferro as the counterback to that. Live television is fun. Guys,
I love it. That's why we're on the web, Charlie.
Forsett, is he? Do we know if he's a Ray Rice yet? No, of course we don't know yet. Yeah. Does he have all the earmarks to possibly be a Ray Rice style answer? He's doing it right now. I can tell you that. Seeing him run yesterday live was very impressive to see that. And then you have the counterpunch of him and Lorenzo Taliaferro. Taliaferro takes the ball and he looks for someone to hit. So you have this sort of a bull rush versus a shifty back. It's a good spot for Baltimore to be in right now, especially when you consider 4 weeks ago we didn't know what we were going to do.
Yeah. Charlie, defensively, both of these teams are kind of wide-eyed right now, knowing what they got to go up against. What do you suspect the game plan is going to be, given what Luck's done the last 2 weeks for the Colts?
Put as much pressure on that young man as possible. He is not a typical third-year quarterback in the NFL. He is a very different animal under center and from the shotgun. You've got to look at Elvis Dumervil. You've got to look at Terrell. They're the names we've all come to know in Baltimore and in the NFL. Melody Nada, Elvis Dumervil, Terrell Sugg. They put pressure on Cam Newton yesterday. Sugg had 3 hits and a sack. Dumervil had 3 hits and a sack. Is Cam Newton and Andrew Luck tied? No, Andrew Luck can throw the football. But C.J. Mosley led the team yesterday. He was a first-round pick of the University of Alabama. Yep. He led the team yesterday with 11 tackles. He's growing into his own, too, and appears to be on a crash course, a speedy course. He's learning quickly on the job.
Okay, well done. Enjoy the LDS out there this week, first of all.
Well, I'm going to have to think about it now because you guys are going to be rooting against us.
Yeah, well, you'll get over that. That's fine. Tigers in 4 if you need a prediction. I'm just going to give you that unsolicited. Tigers in 4. Yeah.
Chris Tillman's pretty salty, guys, and you're going to have Bud Norris on top of that. It's all right. Tigers in 4 might be no.
Yeah. Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, David Price. There's 3 wins right there.
Wow. That's like a whole thing going on there. I don't know. Baltimore's the 1 seed, though. Baltimore's the top seed coming into this thing, so we'll see. Hey, Charlie, thanks. Say thanks to Olivia for us. Special guest.
Say bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Good. Enjoy the week, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk soon. Bye-bye.
All right, Charlie from WMAR in Baltimore, and Olivia, the special guest there.
Yeah.
First I'll have to put his kids on next time he gets on the Skype there at this point.
I think we all got to love what he says. Bring pressure on Andrew Luck. I love when teams say they're going to bring pressure on Andrew Luck, because all that means is that they're going to bring more than we have to block, but we're going to have one-on-one matchups outside. And if you feel like your defensive secondary can to match up one-on-one with our skilled players, go ahead
It's
and
a game
try.
of chicken almost with
It
something
is.
like that, yeah?
I remember that was Tom Moore's philosophy. He very seldom max protected. Our guys will block you up long enough so Peyton can find whomever.
Make a play.
And they did.
Yeah.
And fix it. Fix the protection. If you see him coming over here,
Right.
move everybody over here and get protected, but you're going to have good matchups outside. Plus, I think Baltimore, they've only played one away game, and they won ugly against the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Everything else has been at home, and they play pretty good at home. I think us getting them in Lucas Oil is going to be the difference in this ball game, and I think that's why we win the game.
The ability to make adjustments at the line that we saw with Peyton, and Luck seems to be able to do kind of the same now, that seems to be key against a defensive scheme like that.
Because they move around a lot.
One thing I always harken back to Peyton, because you just learn things from him, but whenever they played Baltimore, he said it's going to be he said that a lot of them ugly parts of the game.
Yeah.
But they're going to give you chances to make plays.
Yeah.
With whatever they do. There's going to be 4, 5, 6 times. Those are the ones you got to cash in on. They're going to win some because they got great players. But when you get the chance, you got to strike and make plays.
That's exactly right. They're going to get their plays, but they're going to give up big plays as well. And I think that's going to be a big key to this game.
I'm thinking of the game when you guys went to Baltimore and won with 5 field goals.
But then remember when we went there back in 2008, I think it was, and we beat them
44-20.
Yeah, and ran it up.
Exactly.
That's when they bring Ray Lewis out and he did his little dance in the end zone.
Yes.
And Peyton just pulverized him.
All right, we'll see how it goes coming up on Sunday here. I don't know. Do we do predictions at the end of this thing usually? Do you guys throw that out there? I don't know if it first does that. It's the first time I've hosted this thing or not. What do you think coming up on Sunday?
Well, I mean,
guess?
we talked about the last time the Colts scored 40 points in back-to-back games. It was actually 4 games in a row. It was 2004. It was my rookie year. It was against Chicago, Detroit, and to be honest with you, I can't remember the last two.
Tennessee was the 4th one. Houston, maybe?
Houston, Tennessee, something like that. Sure. So I don't know if the Colts will get 240, but from what Charlie says, I think they're going to bring some pressure. I think Andrew Luck is going to have big numbers in the passing game. Might not have huge numbers in the running game, but as long as we can protect and block them up when they come, I think the Colts are going to win this one because they're at home.
High-scoring game, you suspect?
I don't think so. Because I think the Colts defense, they've got something to prove too.
Sure.
The perception now is they're along for the ride.
Yeah.
While the Colts score 40, so I think this defense will play well. Shut down, at least contain Justin Forsett and make Joe Flacco beat you.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, I think you got a good chance.
And our corners, I think, will match up well with Steve Smith and Torrey Smith.
Yeah, it's been really impressive the last couple of games to see how those guys have stepped up in the secondary for sure.
And Owen Daniels is a good tight end, but he's not up.
He's not
Delaney
gonna
Walker, Zach Ertz, or Julius Thomas. So I think we'll be able to contain him too.
They'll see better tight ends going forward after this too than that, for sure. So, all right, well, there you go. Colts Ravens Sunday 1 o'clock. We'll have full coverage for you coming up Sunday here on RTV6. Guys, well done. That was nice.
Yeah, good show.
Okay, I'll get back here in a month and do this again. But thanks, Dave, first Skyping in for us. Charlie Crowler from WMAR in Baltimore as well. Hey, thank all of you for joining us. We'll be back here next Monday, each and every Monday this season, 12:30 live from the Palomino downtown on the IndyChannel.com and on your RTV6 app as well. Keep the conversation going on Twitter with us and online and all that more. We'll do it again next week. Have yourself a beautiful Monday out there. Time to get out and get at it. We'll see you soon.